So basically I want to ask the first question. What happened in Cornelius when all of a sudden you found out about the Connell House and the kind of individuals that were going to be located from the state hospital into the middle of a neighborhood in Cornelius?
Well, the first thing to talk about is that the news of that home and who was there was a surprise to all of the officials in this area, to the chief of police, to the sheriff, to the district attorney. And eventually, the only reason we found out is the district attorney was required by law to be notified. He brought that to us, but it was well after the house had opened and well after they'd put some very dangerous offenders there. So when I got those names, I was able to do some background search. And for example, there was a man there that had brutally raped a very young child, a 3-year-old girl, in front of her brother and other children, and he's an extremely dangerous guy, and he was living in a neighborhood exactly like the neighborhood in which he lived. So that's what got us involved. We went out and found that the state would not notify the neighborhood of those folks, so I took that upon myself and I did that. That really got the community involved. It was an important thing to do, I think.
As a chief of police, what do you think the impacts are to a community like yours that you have a facility like this kind of drop in on you without any notification, without any explanation whatsoever?
Number one, it wasn't just the neighborhood we were concerned about. We were also concerned about the residents. So it was a two-way street there. We wanted to make sure that the facility was adequate for what it was being used for, and all the processes were appropriate so that if one of these facilities is located in any city throughout this state, that appropriate notification is made to local law enforcement, to the appropriate sheriff, that they work with the local law enforcement agencies and the cities themselves through the design and review process, as well as making sure that we work as partners with the mental health community.
Yeah, no, and just something to not lose track of is notification to the people that live in that neighborhood.
Right.
I talked to a man and woman whose home was very, very close to that one. Can you imagine waking up one day and this is your home, it's your retirement home, this is where you want to live for the rest of your life, and now you can't be comfortable. You're afraid in your home all the time. You don't want to have your grandchildren over. You don't want to have your neighborhood children over, and it scares them to death. And government officials, I think, have an obligation, really just have to not let that happen. We have to be able to do something.
Well, Sheriff, you did a great job of basically finding out who was there, what was going to happen, informing the public. Obviously, the public was very concerned. I, as the state senator that represents the area, was concerned and alarmed, and basically went to Salem and said, all right, this is a problem. It's not just a problem here in Washington County, not just a problem in my district in Hillsborough, Cornelius, or Forest Grove, but this is a problem statewide. And it's important for the state hospital and the Psychiatric Review Board, when they're going to place these individuals out in our communities, that they inform local law enforcement so that you know ahead of time what's happening. We were able to get that bill passed, Senate Bill 911, in the last legislative session. In a nutshell, how will that make your job easier?
Well, I still receive notices today of anybody that's released from the Psychiatric Review Board of any threat level to any facility. So what I'm able to do is do some research on that individual. I'm able to, if it's in a city and not in the unincorporated county, I'll send it to the chief, and they're able to tell their police officers who's there, what the person looks like, what kind of criminal events they've had in the past. We're able to go and meet them, not in a confrontational way, but just in a helpful way, and get to know each other. And I think it really adds to the safety of the community by us knowing that and entering into the partnership like the chief was saying. So that was a huge legislative piece of work that you did, and I really appreciate it a lot. It helps us immensely.
No, that was ultimately the goal, is to provide you guys information so that you can do the appropriate notice, be involved in the front end, like you said, Chief, before these facilities get located and the folks end up in our community without us knowing about it.
I had been actually asked if a facility of this sort was going to be in the community prior, and had said no, because I didn't know about it until after the facility was open and operating and occupied.